Tonight, alleged victims of a suspended builder speak out.
Calls for progress on Bundaberg's transport strategy.
A bike stolen at a Pyalba news agency.
And how the daily grind is affecting coffee prices.
This is 7 News with Joanne, Desmond and Ned Balme.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
A Dundarran couple claim they've lost thousands of dollars while building their dream home following a harrowing experience with a fencing company. They referred their claim to the Queensland Building Construction Commission, which today confirmed the company's licence is suspended.
Tony and Fiona Lawson are out of pocket $4,500 and claim they have nothing to show for it.
It's funny, we're known now in Dundarran Beach as the people with the dodgy fence.
Yeah.
The pair commissioned Marlin glass fencing, also known as New Eyes, to build them a pool fence.
We had a few nice pieces.
The couple paid the deposit and construction began while they were living in Victoria, but they weren't satisfied with the workmanship in the process and asked Marlin Glass to stop building. The couple say they had to pull the fence down, labelling it a safety hazard, and asked for their money back. The builder said it didn't have the funds.
We kept ringing him to say, where's our money? And it just kept going on and on and on like that.
Others on social media have shared similar experiences with the company. The QBCC today released a statement confirming his licence was suspended for failing to comply with an audit. The Fraser Coast Council's warning locals to take care when selecting builders.
The Fraser Coast Regional Council urges every resident to double check and make sure that the QBCC qualifications are there and that they are properly registered tradesmen.
7 News has spoken at length to David, but he refused to make a comment on camera. Hannah Watt, 7 News.
Bundaberg Council is calling on the state government to approve the next step of the town's new transport strategy. Mayor Helen Blackburn claims she's asked MP Tom Smith to help speed up the process 6 times, but he says the decision lies with the Transport Minister.
It's an important document that's been in the works for 5 years. This is Bundaberg's 20-year transport strategy.
It allows for road and intersection upgrades, evacuation routes, pathway extensions.
But the Mayor says there's a roadblock. It hasn't been approved for the public to view. 7 News can reveal the plans contain 46 recommendations, including evacuation routes for Moore Park and Bundaberg North.
I've met with the Director General twice to try to get this document out to the public. I've also asked the member for Bundaberg on at least half a dozen occasions.
He should be knocking down the Minister's door and demanding that this report is released publicly so that we can move it to public consultation.
The member for Bundaberg says he's with council.
Roll it out, absolutely. At the end of the day, only the Minister can make that decision. I know that when the Mayor and myself met with the Premier, he was happy for it to roll out. I'm happy for it to roll out.
Tom Smith says he's spoken to Transport Minister Bart Mellish. His office told 7 News the draft strategy will be released for public feedback shortly. Jamie Tanikoff, 7 News.
Well, 7 News has obtained vision of a push bike being stolen outside a Pyalba news agency. CCTV cameras captured its owner leaving it on the footpath and heading inside. That's when a thief walked up and grabbed it seconds later and took off. Police are reminding locals to keep an eye on their valuables and lock them up to prevent thefts.
It's an unwanted caffeine hit, but new data from the coffee commune shows Queenslanders could soon be paying close to $7 for a cuppa. One expert predicts 4,000 cafes could close across the country if the government doesn't step in with a solution to rising costs.
If prices at cafes aren't low, customers are saying no.
3 years ago, people would go, I'll have this, I'll have that. Can I add this? Can I add the extra shot? Now we're noticing a decline in the average spend per customer.
Taylor McMahon says milk costs have risen by 50% in the last 6 months and coffee beans have gone up by 40%.
It's definitely impacting regional Queensland.
Well, we're seeing businesses close every day.
The coffee commune is spilling the beans. New data shows a cuppa could soon cost close to $7.
This is the first time in 35 years that I've seen all expenses go up at once.
Phil DeBella wants the state government to address gas and electricity prices and improve the payroll tax threshold. David Crisafulli says the LNP's plan is worth a shot if elected.
Day one, a maintenance guarantee to make sure that we keep the power plant online. And the first bit of legislation, the Making Queensland Safer laws, adult crime, adult time, to drive down insurance premiums.
But Stephen Miles says Labor's already found the right blend.
In Queensland, our concessions ensure that small businesses, family-run businesses, they don't pay payroll tax. And we've supported small business by providing those $650 electricity rebates.
Locals looking for solutions say that's only skimming the surface.
It's a hard time.
Jamie Tenikoff, 7 News.
A Hervey Bay toddler has more than earned her nickname of Warrior Princess. Little Luna is one of just 30 Australians with a rare genetic condition that requires round-the-clock oxygen. Now her family wants to share her battle with the world.
She's just turned 2, but Luna has already endured 25 hospital visits and 10 surgeries.
My name's Latoya and this is Luna. Luna has Kleefstra syndrome.
Kleefstra syndrome is a disorder that stems from a missing piece or mutation in a chromosome.
We had a normal pregnancy. We had no idea that there was going to be anything wrong with Luna.
Born locally in Hervey Bay, Luna was immediately put on life support and airlifted to Brisbane's Mater Hospital.
We spent 89 days in ICU and 49 of those days Luna was intubated.
At just 10 weeks old, Luna underwent life-saving open heart surgery after her lung collapsed and her heart began to fail.
We were told by the doctors that she was too sick to have the surgery and that she wouldn't make it. If we didn't fight for her to have the surgery, I don't know where she'd be today.
The only medical clinic for Kleefstra syndrome is based in Sydney, and it is entirely funded by the Kleefstra community as it receives no public health support. To raise awareness, Latoya manages multiple social media pages documenting Luna's journey, and she runs a small business creating custom medical merchandise.
It can be very scary, very ugly, and especially when you have a rare child with a rare condition, it's a very lonely journey.
To mark Kleefstra Syndrome Day, people were encouraged to wear purple and all donations went directly to the clinic. Hannah Watt, 7 News.
Good on you, Luna. What a battler. Farmers are worried there will be Standover Cane in the paddock for the 4th year in a row, despite mill workers suspending strike action after accepting a pay rise. But Wilmar Sugar's General Manager says it's too early to know if there will be excess crop and if union strikes are to blame.
It was a sour negotiation which plagued the sugar industry for months.
I think really everyone's just focused on getting the crush off.
55% of Wilmar Sugar employees voted for the new enterprise agreement last week, bringing union strikes to an end. More than 1,300 employees will receive a $2,500 bonus and 12% pay increase by Christmas, with a further 4% next December.
Wilmar have put an offer out on the table that's just going to scrape over the line. We knew it was very mixed what we were getting from our membership.
The vibe out there is some people will obviously be disappointed that voted against it.
Farmers are ready to get on with this season's crush.
We need to be able to get everybody to pull in the same direction. The crushing is well behind.
It's the 4th year there's expected to be Standover Cane in the paddock, meaning it's likely the industry will be crushing right until Christmas.
So the Wilmar strikes have played a big part in having Standover Cane, if we do have it, but there are other factors like weather and also mill performance. Mill performance is another big one that has held us up.
But Wilmar Sugar believes it's too early to tell if it's due to the strikes.
I think at the moment it's way too early to talk about Standover. I mean, obviously a lot depends on the weather.
Georgie May Walker, 7 News.
Maryborough City Hall was bursting with pride today as nearly 200 Fraser Coast locals were granted their Australian citizenship. Each took their turn to pledge their allegiance before a performance by a local high school girl singing some Aussie classics.
I feel such a sense of pride watching other people make the same commitment that I made with my family back in 2007.
The Maryborough ceremony was part of a nationwide celebration marking the 75th anniversary of Australian citizenship.
Ahead tonight, price pressure still taking a toll on budgets despite tax cuts.
And a teen pilot's fundraising flight for medical research.
Welcome back. Well, it might look like welcome relief, but many are concerned recent tax cuts aren't making a real difference to household budgets. Experts say spending habits haven't changed much and people are still battling.
It's a crippling reality for so many, choosing whether to put food on the table or keep a roof over their heads.
Our emergency relief, we saw over 1,000 people in a month. You know, coming in to get food supplies, that's really frightening.
I feel very, very sorry for people that aren't on a high wage because they're battling all the time.
Sweeping tax cuts by the federal government came into effect in July and promised relief. But there's been barely any change in spending since then, according to most major banks.
Yeah, well, I think the tax cuts need to be more substantial, to tell you the honest truth.
Experts initially thought the tax cuts would send consumers on a spending spree, but tight purse strings have lingered.
If it was just one thing, people would be able to manage, but you've got food, you've got housing, then you've got medical and schooling.
Homeowners particularly feeling the pinch of high mortgage repayments.
I've got people coming in who they've had a fixed rate, may have been 2.1%, now gone up to 6.9%. That's a huge factor for somebody who's got a mortgage.
I know some people with their mortgage, their payments have gone up incredibly to the point where something else has got to give.
Experts say relief for household budgets could still be months away, with predictions the Reserve Bank won't be looking at cutting interest rates until May next year.
It's a real problem and I don't think it's going to go away for a while.
Clesianta, 7 News.
An anonymous donor has announced they'll match donations for Bundaberg's new sleep bus. It's currently under construction and will serve as mobile accommodation for the homeless and vulnerable across the region.
If we all donated a couple of dollars, it really is going to make a big difference. We're going to get there.
The mobility of the bus too means that we can solve this problem across our region and not just in the bigger centres.
The community has already raised $100,000, but rising costs mean another $50,000 is needed. You can donate online at sleepbus.org.
Queensland teen Byron Walla is aiming high on his mission to raise money for Crohn's disease research. The 14-year-old is flying around Australia to spread awareness after he was diagnosed with the illness earlier this year.
No video games for Byron Walla these school holidays. His gear stick is the real deal, steering a Cessna Caravan.
I fly most of it. The instructor might take over for a bit if the weather's turning on us. But I've done most of the takeoffs and landings.
He's on an 18-day, 10,000-kilometre mission, circumnavigating Australia to raise money for Crohn's disease after his own diagnosis.
And I thought that I'd find a way to give back to the hospital as they've done so much for me.
Byron's only been flying for a year and a half, but his flight instructor and dad Rob are both impressed.
I think it's underestimated how much we should take our hat off to the young fella. He's got a lot of spirit.
The teen Top Gun took off from Brisbane on the weekend before flying to Rockhampton and the Whitsundays.
I love going into Shute Harbour. That was a nice little airstrip, good facilities, and got to go on a little joy flight.
He'll now continue up the Cape of Australia with his next stop Horn Island before flying south all the way to Tasmania. If you want to donate to Byron's cause, go to his website, Teen Pilot Down Under.
We're just grateful for any amount.
Sophie McManus, 7 News.
And sports up now with Luke.
And Luke, a Harvey Bay bocce player, is off to Italy.
Yeah, how exciting is this, Joe? Lachlan Kavanagh is going to the World Boccia Challenger in Sardinia later this month. We'll have more on that next. As some Wide Bay AFL Masters players still get a kick out of playing footy.
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back to 7 News. Well, the Wide Bay will be well represented at the AFL Masters Carnival in Perth later this month, with 6 locals wearing the maroon jersey. For these over 45s, age is just a number, but they're still getting a kick out of the game they love.
Their bodies might have slowed down, but the love of the game and having a kick still matters for 6 local AFL Masters players heading to Perth this month.
46 years of age, been playing since I've been 10. It's been a long career and still loving the game of footy, and I've tried to hang up a few times, but I just want to keep playing footy.
Matt Edgeworth enjoys the speed of Masters footy.
It's a slower pace, and there's a few different rules involved, but it's just one of those things you can play every 2 weeks, and take time for your body to heal by the next week and you're ready to go.
Edgeworth was named as an All-Australian last year and is focused on the team's success.
It's not about me, it's about the team, and hopefully we come back with another premiership. That would be absolutely fantastic 2 years in a row.
Clint Wagstaff is prepared for a challenging carnival.
It will certainly be tough. It's Western Australia's home carnival this year. We know that they've got 2 divisions in pretty much every age group, so no doubt they'll be strong and very tough to beat. We're not going over there to take it lightly, that's for sure.
The carnival runs for more than a week.
3 games spread over about 10 days to give the older bodies time to recover.
The carnival begins on September 29 in Fremantle. Brendan Bowers, 7 News.
Well, Speedway returned to Maryborough on Saturday with the first event on the club's 24-25 calendar. The feature race of the night was the Queensland title for the Formula 500. Stephen Element was crowned champion after leading from the first turn to the checkered flag in the 25-lap event. Travis Wolfgram finished a second behind Element, with Mitchell Whittaker claiming third place. Fraser Coast resident Kane Richters won the production sedan race, with Josh Harm and Richard Cook rounding out the top 3. Racing returns to Maryborough Speedway on October 26 with the V8 Dirt Modifieds and production sedans. Well, Lachlan Caviar's boccia journey continues in the Hervey Bay. The athlete is heading to Sardinia next month as part of the Australian team to compete in the World Challenger event, a first place in last month's Sporting Wheelies tournament in Brisbane, providing the perfect warm-up.
After each Paralympics, all athletes' rankings are null and void, and they must compete again to earn ranking points. It begins again for Lachlan Kavanagh, who is in the Boccia Australia Talent Program, headed to the World Boccia Challenger competition in Italy.
And in 2 weeks' time, I am going to Sardinia.
Father and coach John believes it is a reward for his hard work.
He's had a pretty good year. He went to South Australia, won the singles down there. Came up, we had a competition in Brisbane, the state championships. It was almost like a national championship, only one of the top players missing. And so he won all of his 6 matches, so he's in good form.
His current form and new funding providing new benefits for Lachlan.
He is in part of a Boccia Australia Talent Program, so his results mean that you get part of that. You're part of that program. The success that the BC3s that had in Paralympics in winning 2 silver medals has enabled more investment into boccia.
The increased investment has made it easier for athletes to attend tournaments and to increase their rankings.
We've got 5 players going to Sardinia for a challenge event over there, and with the benefit of having sponsorship with Boccia Australia and the Australian Institute of Sport, enables them to be able to go to these competitions.
Brendan Bowers, 7 News.
What a champion Lachlan is. We, of course, wish him all the best over there, Joe.
Yeah, what an opportunity, though.
Absolutely, and going to Italy as well.
I know, right? All right, thanks for that, Luke.
And, of course, good luck to the Masters boys in WA as well. Stay with us after the break. Dani Sharp has all the details of the weather.
Good evening, Dani Sharp with tonight's weather. As expected, we had a mostly fine day across the region. A little cloudy at times, and this morning felt especially brisk. Temperatures are about to bounce back though. Before we dive into that forecast, a quick check of today's conditions. Temperatures hit 25 degrees in Bundaberg, 24 for Hervey Bay, single digits in Gympie overnight with a top of 24 degrees. On the satellite loop, cloud over North Queensland has gifted Cairns with constant showers today, leaving a gloomy impression in Townsville as well. Linda at Mission Beach asked why we're still seeing rain from the north when we have all this wind from the southeast. Well, basically all weather systems move west to east, but high pressure in the tropics sends these moist onshore winds back to the coastline, and that's when it can trap in some of that wet weather and leave it here for a bit longer. On today's synoptic chart, we can see the reason for those strong southeasterly winds too. A cold front sitting over the Tasman is sending all its windy leftovers up the east coast. Tomorrow, a big high pressure system should keep most of the state dry. Showers are still possible in the north. On the outlook chart, that air mass over Queensland's north becomes a lot less stable once we throw a trough and a high pressure ridge into the mix. It means we could see the odd storm in the tropics, otherwise otherwise partly cloudy conditions for the rest of Queensland. And now the latest from the Weather Bureau, the boating forecast for Hervey Bay waters. We're expecting a wind change in the middle of the day. Seas below a metre, wind picking up the pace slightly for Thursday and Friday. Off Gari, seas still below a metre, those east-southeasterlies turning north in the afternoon. We are expecting that to pick up a bit on Thursday and then swing northerly on Friday. There is a full moon tomorrow, which means we'll have a highest tide in about an hour from now, peaking at around 2 metres. Tomorrow, high at around 8 a.m. and p.m. off Gari, peaking at over 3 metres off Bundaberg, and the low is scheduled for early afternoon. For the Wide Bay and Burnett, the chance of fog now south tomorrow morning. Possible showers around Gari, but nothing for the rest of us. Winds strongest in the early afternoon. We're heading for a top of 28 in Gayndah, 26 for Bundaberg, and 26 for Maryborough and Gympie as well. Looking ahead for Bundy, that Saturday forecast keeps warming up. 30 degrees now flat, 31 on Sunday, which is a little bit warmer, and then hopefully cooling down into the start of next week. And that's all from me for tonight. I'll leave you with a challenge. Find us an excellent picture of that full moon tomorrow night and send it into our socials. For now, get ready for some very warm weather, guys.
Thank you, Dani, and that's all from us tonight. Thank you so much for your company.
And also a reminder, you can watch a replay of 7 News on 7 Plus, or you can download the 7 News app. And from all of us here, good night.
Good night.